Welcome back to our newest edition of Wells Rewind. Today we have been having an exciting few weeks
with lots of fun activities and our first Renaissance fair.
It was very interesting. This year we had different kind of booths and had a lot of food stalls also. 4 different stalls: Japanese, Chinese, Indian and Korean.
It was based upon a Renaissance in which the art and science developed, and it was different from last year.
The haunted house and the dunking booth was the most successful. Many people enjoyed. Children were running around and smiling happily, and teachers were also enjoying this a lot. During the alcohol week, there was a doctor who came from America, and he shared his experience to us about his patients. And there was also an organization, the Happy Family, who made students do role plays and who also did role plays to show us how drugs were bad and how we can avoid them.
Mr. Jared shared his personal life experience and how drugs affected his life.
Good morning. I'll be interviewing our new assistant headmaster, who was our former language arts teacher. Good morning, Mr. Jared. What do you think about your new job?
Well, so far, I have mixed feelings. I enjoy it. It's definitely different than what I've done before. The biggest difference is mainly that I've found I'm very, very busy. I have very little time, and definitely not as much time as I used to have as a teacher.
How does this affect our students at Wells?
Well, it does affect them in a few ways. The primary one is that there is frankly just now another administrator. There's another order to the bureaucracy that they have to deal with. It's not necessarily something that is good all the time, but as we're growing as a school, we simply need to get more people in these types of positions. So the way that it will affect students is by simply having another person in place to help determine policy, to help students determine what they want to do when they graduate. It's simply, think of it as just another person to help.
And how does this affect our teachers?
Well, with the teachers, I actually am handling a lot of the academic side of things for the administration. So I actually will be observing teachers and doing evaluations for them. I also am one of the people that they come to see whenever they do have issues or problems or concerns. The problem that we have, again, as a growing school, is that Mr. Ray often doesn't have time to deal with all of the issues that do arise. So the biggest part of my job in dealing with teachers is simply being there when Mr. Ray is not available.
How do you think the students can help to make this a better school?
Oh, I have a lot of things I could say in that regard. The biggest one that comes to mind, though, is being proactive. At this point, the tendency in a lot of schools here in Thailand is for students to simply sit back and let things happen to them. To actually change the things that you don't like in a school, to actually get what you want in this school and in life in general, you need to be proactive. You need to take the initiative to talk to people, to do work before you're asked to do work, and to try to change things yourself without waiting for someone to tell you to do that.
In your perspective, how do you see Wells in 10 years' time?
That's a tougher question. Right now, Wells is probably in one of its biggest transition periods that we've ever had, and we are going to be growing very rapidly. We plan on expanding this school, hopefully with a new addition by next year, and potentially within the next 10 years, we may actually be at a different site entirely. So what I would ideally like to see would be Wells as one of the top 5 international schools in Bangkok. And I think we definitely could reach that given 10 years' time and given the amount of talent with both the teachers and students.
Thank you, Mr. Jared. See you next time.
and today I'm going to talk to Mr. Brian and ask him questions about H1N1 and how it affects our student population. Mr. Brian, what is H1N1?
Well, H1N1 is just another variation of flu, the influenza virus. In this case, it actually originated in pigs. I believe the first time it was ever extracted from pigs was in 1930. Since then, it's mutated and mixed with the human form. When either a pig or a human was infected with both viruses, it recombined the genes and the DNA and that's led to today's infection, which is transferable from human to human as well.
And is it serious?
Yeah, it's serious. Influenza is always serious. Influenza, what most people don't realize is that influenza kills people every year. Every strain of it does. This particular strain is very serious because it is a new strain. It's a new combination. Even though it was first isolated in 1930, the first time that swine flu was ever actually transferred from one human to another was in 1988. But that was a very isolated case. It was contained within a hospital and it was basically eliminated. But now today we have what we call an epidemic, which is where swine flu has reached a point where it's infecting a lot of people every day.
What are the symptoms of H1N1?
Well, the symptoms of H1N1 are the same as the symptoms of a normal flu, which is fever, coughing. Sometimes, in the case of swine flu, we can actually have vomiting and diarrhea as well, which is a little bit abnormal for a flu virus. But generally the same as normal flu viruses, just a little bit more severe and a little bit harder to actually beat the virus off as well.
What are the chances of dying from swine flu?
Well, for fit and healthy people like ourselves, the chances are very low. But if you're immunocompromised, which means your immune system doesn't work very well, or you're very, very old, or they're very, very young, these people are particularly at risk. What is particularly worrying about swine flu is that it actually has infected and killed younger people up to the age of about 11, 12, 13 years old. And normally, normal flu wouldn't normally kill people like that, so quite worrying.
And last week our school was shut down, like half of the school was shut down. What do you think about that?
Well, definitely prevention is better than cure. There is an epidemic in Thailand, and I think the school made the right decision in closing down, because whether or not students at the school actually had it isn't a risk that we should be taking. And schools are a perfect environment for the spread of the virus. People contained in classrooms, conversing a lot. That's how the virus gets spread. So I think they made the right decision to close the school.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Brian, for taking a bit time for us. And that was Mr. Brian and his swine flu information. Thank you.
Hello, and this is JJ of Wales Rewind. Today on Wales News and Propaganda, we present to you a fresh, juicy topic. The terrorist activity at Wales International School. Today, it has been confirmed that on November 9, 2009 of the Gregorian calendar, it is reported by NASA that they witnessed a disturbing sight at 9:40 a.m. GMT +7. Dr. Anand Nimas had recorded the annihilation of true TV satellites by laser beams originating from the surfaces of the Earth. Using intact NASA satellites, NASA pinpointed the origin of this seemingly terrorist activity. Gautam Giri, Wales student and evil mastermind. Unspecified government agencies have investigated the matter, inspecting the campus thoroughly, and no further information was discovered. However, it was confirmed that Gautam has had a smile on his face for at least 1 week.
That is it for today, and we'll see you next time on Wales Rewind. Thank you. Thank you. That is it for us. That is it for today. The haunted house. The haunted house.
The haunted house